Welcome into another Red Out podcast. My name is Devin. I hope you all had a nice winter. We're going to get the guys in here in just a second, so we're going to get us started. If I can get...
Hey, how about them tops, son?
You're listening to the Red Out podcast.
So I did kind of hint at before the end of last year that we were going to have a sponsor. So let's get our episode. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Let's see if. Hey Jared, how's it going, buddy?
It's good. How's it going?
Good. We have a climbing baby. We should have Matt in the studio here in just a second.
Sounds kind of dangerous.
Let's see if I can get this. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp.
Hey, sponsor.
Well, what?
And it's a strong person who can admit it. I talked to my doctor, who referred me to a therapist, and I really didn't have much say as to who the therapist was. But with this episode sponsor, BetterHelp, you do. You can filter out who you would like to talk to, age, gender, religion, and more to pair you with the person who works best for you. And if the person isn't exactly who you're wanting, you're not stuck. You can switch counselors. BetterHelp strives to offer affordable, professional, and accessible online therapy. So go to betterhelp.com/redout today to save 10%. By doing this, you not only support us, you can work toward a brighter, healthier you. Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this episode.
So I hope you all could hear that very well over my daughter. Sorry. Sorry to our sponsor if it was she was a little loud there. But we're back for break. We're going to talk some Western sports here in just a little bit. We've got crazy news going on, weather and everything else. I hope you all had a good break. Jared, winners and losers, buddy. What do you got?
Well, I mean, loser obviously has to be my Dolphins, or basically any professional sporting team I care about. Well, I mean, Miami was that whole 7-game winning streak was a miracle in itself. Like, I'm glad I didn't go to the game. It was in Nashville against the Titans. I thought about it, but I knew in January. I was like, wow, it's probably going to snow. And even the week beforehand, it was 70 degrees. I'm like, it's probably going to snow. And then, of course, it snowed. So I'm glad I just sat at home and watched it on TV. But it was still pretty bad. It was ugly. Winner, I have to choose myself because I just cooked like a bomb supper right now. I made some like homemade lobster tacos, like pico de gallo, sauteed onions, cheese, chipotle sauce, margarita, whole 9 yards. It was delicious. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'll have to remember that.
Real lobster or like fake lobster from?
No, like
IGA?
I bought the lobster and cooked it and everything.
Wow.
Alive?
No, not quite. Like I went to Walmart and got like the lobster tails they have, and I took the meat out of the shells and then just pan fried it with the onions, and it was perfect.
Cool.
That sounds amazing.
Cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jared sent me a picture of his beverage of choice for the episode, so
it was really
I've got
good.
my pina colada sitting here drinking it.
You know, you've reached almost your 30s
toasted.
when all you get for Christmas is alcohol. So that's all I'm saying.
That's funny. Matt, what do you got?
Yeah, winners and losers. I got to give a shout out to to my Titans, Jared. Tighten up. That was an impressive victory, and back in the number 1 seed, and it's pretty amazing that they've been able to do that without Derrick Henry and Julio Jones and AJ Brown for huge chunks of the season.
Yeah, I see Henry's coming back too.
Yeah, I don't know have they announced like when he might be, or I'm sure they're going to keep it under wraps.
They just said he was back from IR, but I don't know if that means he's fully cleared to play this.
I think they have like 2 weeks or something to come off of it. So anyway,
something like that.
A shout out to the Titans. And then
hearing too. Yep.
That reminds me of my granddad. He used to go, all right. Anyway. And then he'd like hit his head and then rub his hair. It was weird. Anyway. I don't think I had a
So, Matt, when do you think the Titans will choke? because it's coming.
Oh yeah, I don't know, man.
AFC Championship.
Yeah, probably. I don't know, man. I feel good about them though.
As a Packers fan, I am prepared for an NFC Championship game and then nothing else. Like, I know we're going to get there, but that's about it. Sorry.
Imagine if it was Packers-Titans Super Bowl. Imagine.
I mean, that's almost guaranteed Packers, but yeah.
Bro.
Throwing shade.
The silence is so much fun.
I don't even know how to respond, man. I'm just dumbfounded.
Well,
I also had a 6.5 hour appointment today, so I'm a little fried.
Well, okay. Honestly, honestly, like with the Titans, like growing up in South Central Kentucky, being like an hour from Nashville during the Steve McNair era and all that, like there was a lot of disappointment in my age for the Titans, expecting them to do well and then not. And so maybe I just have like that perpetual disappointment just ready to come out. I don't know. Stop.
I guess so.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, that was nice when they were actually winning some and it was exciting. And then the last decade and a half has been horrible.
Oh my gosh.
It's
yes.
nice that they're just decent again and not absolutely horrendous to watch.
Yeah. I mean, that's great. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll cheer for them. Don't get me wrong. And I respect people who cheer for local teams like that. Because you can actually go to the game. Like me going to a Green Bay Packers game is like very limited. So,
yeah.
I mean, unless they play in Nashville.
Touche. Or I could go to an Indy game, but Indy's still like three hours away from me. I mean, Nashville's still closer.
I will say that going to the Titans game and being a Dolphins fan and actually cheering for the road team is like the most fun I've ever had at a sporting event.
Really?
Being the heel. Yeah, being the heel is so much fun. Like when you don't have that home support and then when your team is like obliterating the home team and you just rub it into their face. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Hey, I will say I have been to several Music City Bowls. For whatever reason, when my little brother was in Little League football, like we always got tickets. And so we would go and somehow the Little League players got free tickets to them. And so it would always be like Kentucky versus whoever. And so I'd be like, nah. And I would wear like the other team's colors.
Yeah, speaking of the Music City Bowl. No, speaking of that though, it was a crazy one this year with Purdue and Tennessee.
Yes.
Like it was completely back and forth the whole game, and then Braun was able to pull out the win and everything. It's in overtime, so that was really fun to watch. Yeah.
I did see where there's a guy I follow on TikTok, and I don't know if you've all seen it or not, but he does the game film on TikTok, and he always calls out players, supposed players, and he'll be like, Davis, what were you doing here? You're acting unathletic. You're going to let everybody beat you just like your mom. And it's like, what?
Dang.
If you haven't seen him, check him out on TikTok. He did do a Tennessee Purdue, and he did do a Western one too. Western versus UTEP or UTSA. Yeah, really funny stuff. But speaking of football, we're going to just kind of talk about the bowl game just real quickly here. Okay, quit, Abby. So Western beat App State 59-38. It was a great game, and Bailey Zappi beat Joe Burrow's record. Matt, what did you think of the game?
Exactly how I thought it would go. No, I mean, look, man, I had that formula that I told y'all about in the chat, and I don't know if I really said it here on the podcast, but anyway, basically, like for a team to beat Western, they definitely had to score at least 30 points, and they have to have a good enough defense that can slow us down enough. And App State has a good defense, and they needed Western's offense to not do that well. Well, the offense was amazing, and our defense was good enough late in the game. And they just got beat by a better team. I mean, Western after the UTSA game was one of the best teams, I think. I mean, top. I don't know if we were true top 25, but we were. I think most teams we would have played, we would have given them a lot of trouble just because of the offense.
Yeah.
And so I think there were very few teams that would have had the skills to stop our offense and have enough offense themselves to keep up with ours. So
let me ask you this. Well, let me ask you this while I got you on here.
Yeah.
Do you think if UTSA had lost to had beaten North Texas going into the conference championship game, do you think Western would have beat them?
That's a good
Would
question.
they have been laxed enough for Western to beat them?
That's a good question because obviously it motivated them and woke them up. So I don't know. I mean, I think I still think that game was about Western. We literally did everything we could have to screw up that game.
Yeah.
And UTSA did everything they could to win it, and we still lost by 8. I mean, you go back and you look, there were truly like 30, I counted it up, it was like 36 points we left out on the field.
Wow.
Between missed field goals, not getting touchdowns on opportunities for field goals, and the turnovers. I mean, you add all that up, it was like 30-something points, and we lost by 8.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely agree. I think Western should have won that game. And I think that game lit Western's fire, so to speak, in beating App State.
Absolutely.
I mean, we beat them 59-38, and App State's not that bad of a team.
No, I think that was the biggest loss that they had, like at least the most points scored against them since they've been FBS. So that was a pretty big deal.
Yeah. I mean,
Jared,
they would have been top. Sorry. They would have been top.
No, go ahead, Matt.
All I was going to say, it wasn't much. They would have been top 25 if they hadn't lost to Louisiana Lafayette twice. So, I mean, they're a pretty darn good team. They just faced a better team in Lafayette. So
Yeah,
go ahead,
yeah,
Jared.
definitely. No, you're good. Jared, what were your thoughts on the bowl game?
On the bowl game, I mean, I was really impressed with how they looked. I mean, they were able to control basically the entire game. I mean, I never really had much of a doubt that we would lose once we were able to get a pretty decent lead going too. Plus, seeing Zappy being able to break not just 1 but 2 NCAA records in one game is insane. I mean, I wish he would have gotten 6,000 yards so bad. I know he was close, but I mean, that's still going to be a record that hopefully will stand for a long time, just for the fact that, I mean, all those like over 60 touchdowns and almost 6,000 yards. I mean, not many quarterbacks can come in and do that just right off the bat. And the fact that he only had 1 year at Western to do that is insane. I couldn't imagine if he had 1 more year left, or if he would have transferred here a year or 2 ago, like what kind of career he would have had if we were able to keep him and Kitley just to hold on to them for multiple seasons at Western instead of Houston Baptist. But I mean, I'm still thankful for the season that we've had. I mean, I wish our record would have been a little better. I feel like there was a couple of games that we lost that we could have won, and obviously coming up short in the conference title game was kind of sad. But UTSA, they had a once in every 20 years kind of year, and we're not going to have to deal with them once they go to the American anyways. So, I mean, it gives me hope for the future. I just hope Hilton doesn't kind of drop the ball in the quarterback situation with another grad transfer like Pigram was. But, I mean, I hope we can get another guy, or maybe even promote someone we already have to fill the role that Zappy left behind. And the good news is we'll still have another Zappy on campus because his brother Trent, he's a linebacker. He's going to be playing on the Hill. So he just committed yesterday, I think. So that's awesome. We'll still be able to kind of keep that family line going at Western.
Yeah, I agree. I think that'd be nice. I mean, I don't know if he'll be as successful as his brother, but Zappy threw for 5,967 yards. So
it's a lot.
Unbelievable.
So he was like, what,
33
yards? Yeah, there you go. 33 yards short. And that's...
Yeah. And if you think about it, if you go look back and look at like the drive charts and stuff like that, there was a turnover or something, and so we had a short field and stuff like that. And also you had that big long run by Whittington too that probably would have been passing yards if he just hadn't busted an 86-yard run. So it's just kind of circumstance that he didn't get to 6,000.
Well, I mean, I'll take the win any day of the week. Don't get me wrong. And, you know, I want success spread across the board. But, yeah, being 33 yards short kind of sucks. But, oh, well. Yeah, my daughter's decided to just start taking stuff out of a box and chucking it around the room. So
Understandable.
when I start talking and I
One
get
of
cut
our
off, that's what's going on. I'm trying to mute the mic, so when she drops something big, I'm not.
Dude, we should do a podcast where everybody has a kid in the room and see what happens.
Well, Jared, get on that, buddy.
I'll bring my dog. Does
I
that
could-
count?
Yeah, I'll go home and let's just hang out in the kids' room.
Or actually just let your kids run the podcast.
Hi.
Yeah,
There you go.
we could. Yeah, we've got a spike in listeners this week. I wonder what's going on there. But yeah, I mean, seriously, like, I was overall happy with the season. What about you all?
I mean, yeah, I was. I mean, a few games early on. I mean, going 1-3 in non-conference still wasn't exactly preferable by any means. I feel like even if we would have we should have beaten Indiana. Like, there's no reason we should have lost that game the way that it went. I mean, and of course, the first time we played UTSA and that interception, that's another one we could have got. Of course, if we didn't lay an egg against Army in the first half, that's another one we would have got. So, I mean, it's a lot of hindsight 2020 kind of stuff. But, I mean, overall, I think it's a good season. And, of course, I mean, it gives you a lot of hope moving forward. And even with a lot of the departures we've had, losing Kitley and Coach Laughlin, the running back coach, of course, a lot of the wide receivers, Stearns is going pro, Zappy's gone, Tinsley went to Penn State. I mean, there is a little bit of turnover, but at the same time, the core that's left is still really strong. I think Ben Arbuckle is going to be the new, I think it's got like 3 different co-offensive coordinators. So I think that's kind of an interesting approach to do it. But he's getting promoted. He was a quarterback's coach, I think. And we'll still have Craig Burt Jr., we'll still have Malachi Corley, still have Josh Stearns, and I mean, we still have Caden Veltkamp coming in. We still have a good base. We have a lot of good players coming in. I'm pretty happy with a lot of the moves that have been made in the offseason for the most part. I mean, it's not bringing in a veteran guy as much as it is giving these younger guys a chance. And even with Maurice Crum as well, the defensive coordinator, like it did kind of take him a little bit. I mean, I think our defense wasn't that great at the beginning of the season, but you saw how it kind of tightened up once we got into the heart of conference play. And it looked a lot better. Hopefully he's learned a lot this season to help us next year and kind of be more ready off the bat. So I think this was a good season overall.
I do too. I completely agree with everything you said. I do wish we could have the Army and the Indiana game back for sure. Matt, what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, big picture, you have to take a step back from the disappointment from the conference championship game and stuff. That was really deflating. But I mean, if you look big picture, number one, we made it to the championship game, first time in 5 years, and then you win 9 games and you played a tough schedule. You look back and like y'all said, you look back at those 3 games probably that we could have won with Indiana, Army, and UTSA, and early in the year, and it's like, man, we could have been UTSA or whatever this year, or there could have been 2 UTSAs in Conference USA or whatever, and it just kind of blows your mind. It's unfortunate that the defense was like a complete mess in the beginning of the year. Like, you look back at how bad they were.
Yeah.
I mean, like, statistically and just watching them, it was terrible. And it's like, what's the problem here? And I think, Jared, you nailed it on the head with Crum. I think he was really learning on the job, and he wasn't sure what he wanted to do. And he admitted it. Like, if you look at some of his later interviews and stuff, he was talking about how he tried to make it too complicated. And, he simplified it later in the year. And I think the guys finally clicked in and got it figured out. And I mean, honestly, we got a shout out from having so many turnovers in, what was it, the national championship game or something they talked about, or somebody, I can't remember. I was watching a bowl game and they mentioned that Western Kentucky was one of the 3 or 4 teams that had the most interceptions in the nation. And so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
To force a ton of turnovers and be up there. And I mean, it was an exciting season and, 2 NCAA records like Jared said. And I mean, it's nice to see. It's good to be back in that like kind of getting to be the elite program that hopefully we can be year in and year out, and hopefully we can just kind of move it forward for next year. I mean, like Jared said, you got the core and you got some people coming in, and I think some of the pieces that you hopefully will keep should be a pretty good core, and then it's up to the transfer portal. Get some holes filled. And I know Jared mentioned Veltkamp, but I think he'll take a few years before he's really going to be able to do anything. But he looks like a nice prospect at quarterback. So we'll see what happens, and I feel positive about it heading into spring, and hopefully they just fill in the pieces they need to and go on and roll forward.
That's the big thing. You got to fill those pieces that you need and move on. And I'll echo what you said about the defense, because, like you said, it wasn't even bend but don't break. It was the old paperclip Sanford strategy. But I don't want to harp on old bring up old arguments or anything, but it was very ineffective at the beginning of the year. The defense was, and I mean, it goes to show, we lost by 3 to Army and lost by 2 to Indiana. And I think if you took the team at the end of the year that played App State and Marshall and FAU and played those teams against Army and IU, we would have beaten them soundly.
Absolutely.
And honestly, I don't know if we couldn't have beaten MSU, Michigan State.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say that. Maybe a hot take, but I'll say it.
I agree.
I think that team at the end of the year was a lot better than the team that played Michigan State. But moving on, we had one great day. That was an awesome day. Western went on and obviously beat App State in the morning, and then in the afternoon, Western played Louisville and won.
Finally,
that was a great day. It was awesome. Yeah. Cannot fault it at all. Western beats Louisville. Justice shot a career high of 25 points, 5 3-pointers, could not miss. Now, let's back up and talk about when we played Kentucky a few days later. Justice could not hit water if he fell out of a boat.
It wasn't just him, it was everybody.
No, and I'm not. And I'm picking on Justice in particular, but yeah, you're right. I mean, there were several times that I remember watching the UK game because I was so excited to rub it in my father's face at Christmas. I was like, yes, please let us beat Kentucky. And there were several spans, which you can't do when you play a team like Kentucky, where Western ran down the floor, missed, Kentucky took it back and scored. There was, I want to say there was at least a good couple minutes there of no scoring. And it was the most frustrating thing to watch because it was like, oh my gosh, we're not going to come back from this. Mm-hmm. And especially when Sharp went out, that was a big nail biter for me. And then, of course, what was the kid? Grady? Grady. Yeah. That kid couldn't miss anything. It almost seemed like the goal moved when he would shoot. It'd be a brick and the goal would move over about 6 inches and he would go straight through.
How about 28 damn rebounds?
I think that was the guy I had.
Kentucky had 51 rebounds. Like, where are our guys at the 3-point line?
He out-rebounded us by 1 himself. 28-27.
I honestly was really hoping that Sharp would break the blocking record. That was the most fun thing for me because listening to the announcers, they're like, the record for this is 11, and then right there, Sharp blocked a shot. And I was like, yes, this kid can do it. I'm like, he's only got 4 to go, and then he got hurt.
Yeah, which sucks.
Which I'm assuming is just he probably just rolled his ankle or something. Yeah, maybe a high ankle sprain.
It was a sprain.
Okay, so he had a sprain, which obviously, like, I was very confident in his being able to return like the next game because he walked off the court. Usually injuries like that, if like they're being helped off, it's a break, and you're like, oh crap, we're in trouble.
Mm-hmm. And he played against La Tech, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
Yeah, so he played 39 freaking minutes. That sounds like Rich Stansbury coached that game.
Okay, so the Southern Miss game, was that a COVID issue or what?
Yeah, for
Yeah,
some
it was
reason
Southern Miss COVID.
Okay, just checking because who
That
knows?
sucks because that should have been a surefire win. They're horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Did they reschedule it, or is it just
It says
postponed
it's
indefinitely?
postponed. I don't know what they're going to do. Last year they didn't make any of those up, right, Jared? I don't think they made anything up.
I mean,
I don't. I think you're right.
So-
But so anyway, Western lost to Kentucky by 35 points, which was, goodness gracious me, that was a very tough game to watch after Sharp went out because like there was nothing. Nobody was hitting. They were hitting very seldom, and then Kentucky would hit everything and couldn't miss.
I just
so
think that was pure snake bit. I mean, you just perfect storm of horrible.
I think somebody had like a Western Kentucky voodoo doll and was cursing us or something. I have no idea what was going on there.
Probably so. Someone in Lexington.
Yeah, Coach Cal's wife or something. But no, I mean it was bad. It was a real. I've got a Louisville fan who's a friend who we were talking yesterday, and he was like, he said, I was aggravating him. He had a Nike sweatshirt on, and I was like, does that say Western? And he's like, no, not even close. And I said, I told him, I was like, dude. I was like, come on, I figured you'd be cheering for us against Kentucky. And he's like, oh, I was. I saw that dreadful thing. And I was like, yeah, it was really bad. It was really sad. It was pretty depressing. But anyway, then Western played La Tech, which was more depression.
That was so bad.
Yeah, I mean, even like we were up by 8 points at one point in the first. 8 point. I mean, we had a good buffer of 8 points there for the longest time.
Yeah, we were up as much as 17.
17, yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say we've got a lead of 17 or so into the second, and then they just slipped right back in on us.
Which I will say the officiating was terrible. Like I can understand how Louisiana Tech has won however many games it is in a row they've played at home. I can kind of see it after that. I mean, even Sharp, if he was within like 2 feet of Kenneth Lofton Jr., I feel like they would draw a foul or call a foul on Sharp or whatever. I thought it was kind of one-sided. But, I mean, there was still plenty of opportunities that Western had that they just kind of peed down their leg. Of course, Stansberry getting that technical, that didn't help anything either. I mean, I understand why he would be upset, but that kind of cost them the game too.
Well, I mean, I think
literally they hit those 2 free throws, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we lost by 1. So you could say the technical foul literally cost us the game.
And another thing too that I'm surprised that teams haven't started doing yet is just start fouling Sharp, because whenever he's at the free throw line, I mean, chances are he's going to miss both of them. Like that's what happened in that game too. He got fouled down the stretch and had 2 shots and didn't make them.
Yeah. And by the way,
you got to make those easy points.
I went back and watched it a little bit, and y'all might be surprised by this take. I don't know. But I honestly, y'all know that I'm not the world's biggest Rick Stansberry fan. I mean,
Really?
yeah. Fun fact of the day. No, but in all seriousness, I went back and watched, and I really think a lot of it was. I mean, not all of it. There were some things that I would question, and I definitely question his rotation and stuff. Like you can't not keep playing 6 players. We had 2 guys that played a total of 4 minutes, Sherman Brashear and Jalen Butts, and then we had 6 guys that played all the rest of the minutes. And Josh Anderson, for some godforsaken reason, is coming off the bench, scoring double digits every night, and then you got starters that can't come close to double digits. Anyway, other than that, though, like we got down 17. I went back and watched, and I was looking for like, okay, how did we screw this up? And honestly, it was just kind of like, they made shots with hands in their face. Questionable technical foul call. Jamarian Sharp clearly gets the rebound and then gets fouled, and then they go down. He misses both. We missed some free throws. It was just some bad luck. And obviously it's 17 points. You should have found some way to figure it out and not screw it up that bad. But it was just a combination of some just kind of crap plays that happened. And I want to be fair and say that it wasn't like Rick just screwed this up or something. Like we just had some bad luck and made a couple mistakes, and they made shots and found a way. Lofton's amazing. That guy, man, he was finding ways around Sharp and stuff, like getting Sharp to do uncharacteristic things and jump and get off his feet and stuff like that. And he was just really good. So shout out to him. He's a good freaking player.
Well, I will say the sad part, looking down through the stats here for the team stats, Western only had like 12 total free throws. Mm-hmm. They hit 8, but La Tech had 20 and they hit 15. So like Jared was saying, I mean, whether you want to say one-sided refs or whatever, but it's a big discrepancy there when the other team has 8 more. Whether you want to say it's fouls or whatever, and then, of course, one of those being a technical for La Tech. And then, of course, Western had a lot more defensive rebounds. And, of course, total turnovers. Western had 16, where La Tech only had 11. So you just got to, the worst, like Jared said earlier, the worst stat for me is the 17 is the largest lead. La Tech's largest lead, 1.
1, yeah, at the end.
1, which is so sad. Gosh, it's just a Western thing, isn't it? It's almost like a Titans thing. It's just...
And at the very end of the game, I think we had like a 99% chance to win, and then like it skewed the other direction once Lofton was fouled with like 5 seconds left, and he made those free throws.
Yeah. I mean, think about like the Cam Justice misses the front end of a 1-and-1.
Yeah.
That's 2 points right there. Just some other little tiny things in a 1-point game. You can point at anything and be like, well, that was it. But
and see, one of the things I tweeted afterwards too is that it felt like a Conference USA title game to me because of how much bad luck we had and the fact that we lost a close game the way we did after being up huge.
One thing that Rick did that I didn't like was mismanaging the timeouts, because we had no timeouts the last like 5 minutes of the game, and you're playing a bench of 1. So you're not giving them any break. They have no idea what the plan is, and you're hoping that the other team calls timeout. They had 3 timeouts with a couple minutes left, and they were able to settle down and call the timeouts when they needed them. We didn't have any at all. And that last play, what if we had a timeout? What if we had a timeout a little bit before that so we could talk about what the plan would be if certain things happened? So
I mean,
we definitely that was one mismanagement for sure. That certainly could have cost the game.
I mean, it almost seems like you don't like Stansbury, man.
Listen, for anybody that doesn't know, I just get frustrated. I mean, there are so many times that I'm just wondering what in the hell is he thinking?
Oh,
and then he explains like, we're going to press so that we can slow them down. I'm like, what does that mean?
I always love his impression.
Tavion, I just miss Tavion. I don't know what to do without Tavion. Shoot that ball. He can shoot that ball. Anybody can shoot that ball. Got to develop a bench without ever playing them.
That's what frustrates me, though, is even during tournaments and stuff, like there's no breaks for their starters.
Oh,
and that's one of those things that I always armchair coach. Yeah, granted, whatever. But like
you never played.
Yeah,
I played 8 years of college basketball, and I know everything. And
first off, I played Little League basketball, so just sit down. But no, seriously, like these guys aren't getting any rest. Like they're, you play through the entire Conference USA tournament and you expect them to have good legs, and it's not going to happen.
Well, you've been murdering them all season too.
Yeah.
Like, why do they run out of steam at the end of the year? Because they're freaking worn out. You're playing historically short bench.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at I did an article on this, and I got ripped apart for it because everybody was like, why do you hate him so much and all this stuff? Well, it's just facts. When you look at his benches in his 6 seasons, like 4 of them are like the top or the bottom 10 of depth in Western history. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous how short his benches are, and he's had some good players. This year he may have a decent excuse, like really doesn't have that many people right now. But I bet Harmon and Williams, if they ever come back, he's still going to play maybe 7 players.
Yeah,
that's what alienate
what.
Butts, and he's going to alienate Brashear, and they'll probably transfer.
Yep.
And the thing that sucks is that I feel like if we had Coach Stansbury recruit players but had another coach like in game actually coach, we would be so good. But it's just the fact that he only really knows how to recruit. He's not as good as in game.
Yeah. I think he's a good fundamental coach too. Like they have good fundamentals, whatever stuff like that. But his strategy and his thought process in the game is horrible. I hate it.
He's definitely not a coach. He's a coach kind of like John Calipari, so to speak. Coach Cal can definitely recruit, but Kentucky fans definitely question his strategy and how things work out during games. But he differs from Cal, where even Cal had years where he would switch. He would do the platoon, and Stans has never even come close to doing anything like that. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, there's that, but, and of course, I'm going to older coaches, but like Rick Pitino was really good at fundamentals too. And he was decent at recruiting when he was at Kentucky because he had the name too. But when you move across to Louisville, it's, you're not the big dog anymore. It's a little harder. So he didn't always get the best prospects, but Pitino was more of a developmental coach, where it wasn't year one, you've got to be superstars like it is at Kentucky now, which they really haven't done that in the past couple of years, but whatever. They've got good kids over there, but they're not like they were. Do what?
His strategy in game is excellent. That's what made Rick really good. Rick Pitino really good is he would make sense when he made decisions, and he would manipulate the lineup, whatever, and find a way to make things work. Rick's solution is, we need to make more shots, and let's change the defense. And that's about it. And then you hope that it works out.
Okay, Matt. What we're going to do real quick before we change topics, I need you to say one nice thing about Coach Stansbury.
His wife was nice to me once at the middle game. No, seriously. I mean, I don't hate him, and I really don't. And
I believe you.
What I get frustrated with is 3 straight championship games, and every single one of them you can point at. We didn't play well. There were things that like he could have in the against Marshall. Okay, he could have said, "Quit shooting threes." We tried to play like Marshall against Marshall, and it was horrible. And it was 67-66.
Goodness,
we just played our game and driven the ball. What happens at the end of a conference tournament? Your legs are tired, so you're trying to shoot threes and you're missing. Drive the ball. That's what you do anyway. You draw all these free throws, and then you don't play your game in the championship. Why? I don't understand that.
I think what
you do always.
I think what always kills me, I mean, I get having a base defense, and definitely, this is what we go to. Like, start out the year with the young guys. We got the 2-3. This is what we're going to do. But, like, he doesn't even change it up. With these teams that are shooters, like, they're going to thrive off of, 2-3 because they're just going to hit threes. It doesn't matter if you were in a 2-3 letting them go. Like you said, they had hands and faces on some of these guys and made no difference.
I will say, to refute that a little bit,
okay,
against Louisville, I forget the guy's name, but one of the Louisville players literally said that Stansbury was changing up the defense on them from 2-3 to man, and they weren't sure what Western was in, and it screwed them up.
Wow.
In the second half. So,
well, that's great.
Give Rick some credit.
I will.
At times his stuff works, but the thing is, though, that his only solution sometimes is switch up the defense and see if they get confused. And run a bunch of inbounds plays and see if they work. And so it's vanilla, and there's not a lot of creativity. That's my issue.
So you like Neapolitan?
I just like good ice cream. Okay, I don't care
Yeah,
what flavor it is.
I've drank about half my. I've drank half my pina colada, so
There you go, Dad.
kind of relaxing over here.
YOLO.
Like Garth Brooks, 2 pina coladas, 1 for each hand.
That's right. Actually, mine's a double. I just put it in a bigger Western cup. So
There you go.
My dog is barking. I apologize.
I was gonna say, whose dog's barking?
He probably
Hey,
sees a cat.
Nowhere as bad as Abby. It's okay. She's over here dropping TVs and stuff in the background. So it's just like, whatever, kid. Like it used to bother me, but at this point, I'm just like, it's okay. I'm sorry. Sorry to our listeners, but I'm not sorry. I can't apologize for my kid. Hashtag single parent life. I'm not single. I'm not a single parent. I just do that to aggravate my wife.
You will be if you keep saying that.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. So Western is playing. They got FIU at 3:00 on January 8th. Almost said December. January 8th, which is Saturday. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Saturday, 3:00. 3:00 Eastern. It is on ESPN Plus, so definitely check that out. And the Panthers are looking pretty good, except for conference play. They've lost 1 in conference play. They lost to ODU. Okay.
Yeah,
and they beat, is that Stephen F. Austin?
Probably.
Yeah. SFA?
STFA.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I clicked on it, but it won't show me. Let me see.
If
here.
it's purple and in the shape of Texas, it's Stephen F. Austin. If their logo is.
There's no logo.
St.
Oh, then it
Thomas
might be
University of Florida.
St. Thomas. Okay,
Not
there we
as
go.
impressive as it we first thought.
Well, hey, in my defense, I was like, STFA? Stephen F?
Yeah, no,
okay.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, but no, it's not. No, they beat St. Thomas, Florida, 95-72, which I would assume that's like a center college for Western.
Probably.
Rhodes College. They beat BCU, which is Bethune-Cookman Wildcats, 65-60 or 68-65.
Hey, that's Coach Woody's school. Hey.
Okay, that was an old defensive line coach at Western. So Matt,
an academic All-American at Bethune-Cookman, but he sounded like a ding dong.
He really did, but I'm sure he was a lot smarter. He just was a little slower talking. Yes. So Matt. So who did you like better, Coach Mathis or Coach Woody?
I don't know, man. I like watching Woody more, but Coach Mathis I think was a cooler. He was awesome.
He really was cool.
He was just cool. You walk up and talk to him, and
didn't care.
Yeah,
he wasn't like the other coaches. He was different.
Mm-hmm.
But
Coach Woody was fun. I got to watch Coach Woody and Mike Sanford one time during winter workouts. Hey, cuz.
Hey,
where are you taking your Valentine? Taking mine to Mariah's.
Classic.
Bruh. Hey, bro, I'm going to Mariah's and get some.
And then Coach Woody's like,
tenders.
He's doing how they used to do like the Taggart workouts or the winter workouts where you make everybody vomit.
Yeah.
Well, Coach Woody was like blowing his whistle like 1,000 times, and Sanford goes, "Hey, cuz, why you keep blowing your whistle so much?" And Coach Woody goes, "I just like to blow the whistle, man."
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I literally saw Coach Mathis kick a trash can over a guy's head.
Wow.
He was 3 yards away. He was like 3 or 4 yards away from the guy, and the guy wasn't doing the drill right, and he kicked the trash can, and it went straight over the guy's head. And I was like, holy crap. Like, how did he not hit the guy?
That is impressive.
Just enough to put the fear of God into him.
Yes. Coach Mathis was was the coach that when we played LSU, of course, they put the Tiger right next to our locker room or whatever. So we're all over there pregame. You know, we don't have to do, like, we didn't have a lot of responsibilities at that point. So we were out there making pictures of the Tiger because it was pretty cool. And every time Coach Mathis would walk in and out, that Tiger eyed him up. And then we were just like, I was sitting there watching and I'm like, oh my gosh. And it wasn't just like anybody, it would see him. And so I told him, I said, hey, Coach, you know, every time you walk by that Tiger is just eyeing you up. And he's like, yeah, he probably thinks I'm a water buffalo or something. It's like, holy crap.
Hey, Eric Mathis is a juicy man. I mean, if I was a Tiger,
He wore
that's a fine meal.
He had the biggest belt on the team. It was like a 48 or something, 52 belt. It was a big belt, but he was not like a fat guy. He was just like a big, muscular dude. Mm-hmm. Like I would not mess with him. Mm-mm. Nope, not at all. Now, if he was on my side in a bar fight, I'd just sit back and have a drink. I wouldn't even worry about it because he'd take care of it.
Yeah, I'll be his second.
So anyway, Western's got FIU. What are y'all thinking our chances are against FIU?
We should win that game. If we lose that game and start off 0-2 in conference, then that's going to be really bad.
Yeah, then you got UAB in middle next.
I feel like the UAB game is going to be horrible for us, but that's just my opinion. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm kind of scared of them too, and it's at UAB. Andy Kennedy's got them going pretty well, but FIU, I mean, I think we should be okay. But they're decent this year. Conference USA as a whole is pretty good. Like if you look at the records, nobody has this like god awful, like 1-12 record or anything. I think Southern Miss, who we didn't get to freaking play, was like 3-9 or something, or 4-8.
Okay,
everybody else is better than that.
So just kind of clicking through here, looking at the different teams FIU has played. They played, looks like Central Florida, maybe? No, Trinity. Good gosh. It said TCF. They played Trinity College in Florida. They beat them 111-48. They played Green Bay Phoenix. I didn't even know Green Bay had a team. They played North Carolina Greensboro, which I didn't know about them. They played North Dakota. They played Northern Florida. They played Florida Gulf Coast.
Dunk City.
They've played, who is
Stetson
Hatters. Stetson Hatters. That's hilarious. They played EMU. Like, I feel like they just kind of padded their record because they're 10-4,
FIU,
which looks really good.
The FIU basketball strategy every year. If you look, they'll play like 3 Division III schools and
2 Division II.
Yeah, and then they'll have this like they'll be like 500 or so against a horrible record, and you're thinking they're decent, and then they're awful. This year, I think they're decent though.
That's good.
I mean, they're 9-4? So
10-4.
10-4. Okay, 10-4. So, I mean, decent team, and got to pay attention to them and go beat them.
Yeah, they're 10-4 right now. They are 0-1 in conference. Like I said, they lost to ODU. And then, of course, we'll be playing them this Saturday. And let me see what other games we got before we go away. We got UAB on the 13th, which will be next Thursday. So we'll talk that one next week. Let's scoot over to women's basketball real quick. And let's talk some Lady Top basketball since we got Matt on.
Sure.
So,
you want me to just go for it, or what?
You just go for it, buddy. I will not interrupt.
Okay. Well, listen, I mean, honestly, them one, they're 2-0. If y'all didn't know, they're 2-0 in conference, and they face 2 pretty good teams in Southern Miss and La Tech. La Tech has the obviously the tradition in women's basketball, but Southern Miss has been really good for a while, and Western played them in a Conference USA championship once, and whatever. So these are both 2 pretty good programs and pretty good teams. I don't think they're like Conference USA's best, but the fact that we beat both of them by double digits, even though it was at home, really, really impressive to do that. And Merrill, Abdelgawad. She has been on an absolute tear. Let's see. She only had 16 against La Tech, but the 3 games before that, I think she was averaging almost 25.
Wow.
And she's actually averaging. Let me look at what she's averaging now for the year. She's averaging 19.4. That's up a couple points from a few weeks ago. She was averaging about 18. So really, it's really nice to see her coming along and being a leader. And one thing she did when she was young was she wouldn't really play defense, and she would just kind of like jog around and stuff. She's all over everywhere, doing everything. She's almost averaging a double-double.
Wow.
And she's only like, I don't know, maybe 5'11", 6 foot. So it's not like she's, this huge woman in the middle of the paint eating up everything. Like she's just a decent athlete that's got some skills and can shoot. And she's doing some big things and putting herself in position to be like kind of a conference player of the year, at least in the conversation. And she's got Western at 9-4. We've already got 2 more wins than we had last year, all year. So the fact that this team lost a ton of people maybe was actually a really good thing.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, there was just something wrong with the team last year. They just didn't have any kind of juice. And this year they're looking like, God forbid, maybe even a contender. So it's really like in the beginning of the year, I was thinking, okay, we might be decent. And man, we've really come on. And I think, let's see, we've lost one game in our last 9 games. And that was against Tennessee Tech by 4. And Tennessee Tech's not a bad women's basketball program. So anyway, we've really been pretty solid, and I think people should check out the Lady Tops if you want to see good basketball. And they play a really exciting style and everything. They're pressing just about the whole game and up and down the court, and I've been really impressed with them. I was hoping that maybe they get back to 500. They're clearly going to be better than 500 this year, and we might get to about 20 wins or so, and maybe make a run at the conference. So I'm really pleased with him, and I think Collins, you have to give him a shout out. The fact that he kept the team together last year enough to be decent at the end of the year. They were awful early last year, and they found a way to be competitive even though they had no talent and no chemistry and nothing. And he takes this team, which is all new people and a few transfers and stuff like that, and they're great. They're a really good team. So gotta be happy with them.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, their resume thus far this year looks really good. I mean, beating several decent teams. And then they've got FIU. They're going to be playing in Miami. That game's at noon Eastern. It is not televised. I'm hoping they've got it on some radio channel so people can listen to it and support the Lady Tops.
It'll be on 102.7 usually for the women.
Okay.
ESPN 102.7, and it's also on the WKU Game Day app. If you download the WKU Game Day app, you can listen to any men's or women's basketball game on the radio.
There you go. So definitely check that out. You can listen to the game. And then next Thursday, the women are going to be playing Rice at Rice. And then on the 15th, they're going to be playing North Texas on the 15th so that's next Saturday. And then we've got FAU at home finally. So when they come home, go to the game. Support the Lady Tops. They need your help, need your support, and it makes the atmosphere a lot more fun for them to play in and all that good stuff. And if you've got a daughter who enjoys basketball, take her to the game. It's not that bad. It's not that.
If you want to see good fundamental basketball, don't go to the men's game. Go to the women.
See, there you go.
I don't know. You go throw shade. That's great.
Sorry, but
no, you're good. So just one more time, I'm going to let the sponsor of this episode play. So if I can get it, I don't know what's this. This thing's not working tonight, but okay. Our sponsor of the ad is BetterHelp. So
I am not ashamed to admit in the past, I've needed a therapist. We all need someone, and it's a strong person who can admit it. I talked to my doctor, who referred me to a therapist, and I really didn't have much say as to who the therapist was. But with this episode's sponsor, BetterHelp, you do. You can filter out who you would like to talk to, age, gender, religion, and more to pair you with the person who works best for you. And if the person isn't exactly who you are wanting, you're not stuck. You can switch counselors. BetterHelp strives to offer affordable, professional, and accessible online therapy. So go to betterhelp.com/readout today to save 10%. By doing this, you not only support us, you can work toward a brighter, healthier you. Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this episode.
again, yes, thank you, BetterHelp. Like I was just talking about, Lady Tops, they're going to be playing FIU in Miami. So listen to that game if you can. And then the men are going to be playing they're both in Miami. Okay. I thought one was in Diddle. I'm sorry. This one is, oh, dang it. I've got the Lady Tops, both of them pulled up on the same tab. Let me check this real quick.
The men play at F5. No, that we play in Diddle.
It's at home.
I thought we did. That's what
they do the stupid women are on the road, men are at home thing.
Yes.
I like
So men are at home. It's on ESPN Plus, 3 p.m. Eastern. Like Matt said, you can check it out on the Western app, or you can listen to it on 102.7, which is the ESPN affiliate in Bowling Green. I'm pretty sure, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Definitely check those games out. And we'll be back next week to talk about Western versus Rice, both men and women's. And then we'll talk North Texas as well. Okay? So we appreciate you all coming in and listening to us tonight. And as always, guys, go Tops.
Go Tops.
Go Tops.